Hey, it's Marina, travel experta. Today, we're going to be talking about biking in Oaxaca, Mexico. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. We originally wanted to go, the main idea of why we decided to do biking in Oaxaca in the first place was to go and check out El Tule, the widest tree in the world, which is about 10 kilometers outside of Oaxaca Centro. It's its own little town. I have an entire podcast about El Tule and the little village that it is in. Please go and check it out. It's really interesting. And there's also a little bit of a surprise for you about the town itself, which is a little bit peculiar. But go and check out the podcast to really get a good idea of what I'm talking about. So anyways, we wanted to go to El Tule by bike. So we ended up finding a bike shop. There's very few bike shops where you could rent bikes. We did not want to do a tour, although you can do a bike tour. So we ended up renting bikes, and the bike shops are directly in the heart of Oaxaca Center. But what was super interesting and almost a surprise was how bike-friendly Oaxaca is. You do not need to rent bikes just to go to El Tule. I recommend getting bikes just to bike around Oaxaca. There are bike lanes everywhere, and there are bike lanes going outside of Oaxaca, so you could enjoy a little bit of the outskirts of Oaxaca. Super safe, like actual bike lanes. And then in the city, a lot of cities have quote unquote bike lanes, but in Oaxaca, they are actually separated. Like a car can never actually go into the bike lane. Like a lot of other cities, the bike lanes, it's really easy for a car to merge into it. In Oaxaca, not at all. And that was a really cool surprise. And the bike lanes are all over the city, throughout the entire center, all around, going through the outskirts. And like I mentioned, also bike lanes. And there are bike stands everywhere. And when you rent a bike, they give you a lock. They give you helmets, they give you the full equipment. Like if you need they give you a pump, they give you a tube just in case if you have a flat tire. So they actually really set you up as well. But the fact that you do get a lock, you are able to take it pretty much anywhere and then leave it as you go to have lunch, or if you want to go and check out some stores or whatnot. But I have to admit, like, getting around on a bike in Oaxaca there are definitely going to be a couple of streets right in the very heart of the city simply because that don't have those lanes, and the buses can get a little bit frightening, but you just get off. It's maybe like 1 or 2 blocks. The rest of the streets all have these marked off bike lanes. So it's easy, it's fun, and interestingly enough, it's really well respected. Bikes are it's a respected culture. Some places we've been to where we always pretty much rent a bike, they don't care about you. They'll just run you over. I don't know what their problem is. But in this case, Oaxaca is not like that. Anyways, it's a great thing to do, to try out, especially if your kids are a little bit older. Where we went to one of the most expensive bike rentals in Oaxaca, like where the bikes were relatively new. They did not have any kid seats, so it's probably better if your kid is like 9 and older. One of our friend's daughter was 9, and they had a bike her size, and she had absolutely no problem riding around in Oaxaca and going all the way to El Tule and back because it's all flat. The beauty of it, it's all flat. And if you guys have done any cool activities in Oaxaca, I'd love to hear about it. And if you enjoyed this podcast, leave me a review and make sure to share it with your friends. And remember to make every day an adventure.